born and bred in Hartford, Connecticut, the nutmeg state, a Yankee of the Yankees. Worked in the factory there, the arms factory. You know of it, don't you? Yes. Well, I suppose I knew all there was to know about guns and engines and boilers and all kinds of machinery. Why, I could make anything in the world a body wanted. And if something was wanted that hadn't been made yet, I could invent that too. I'd read the world's almanac from cover to cover. Lucky thing for me I did, because I kept a copy by me in case some argument came up. And there was a lot of arguments too. Oh yes, believe me. Because you see, I was head superintendent of the place with a couple of thousand men under me. And in a position like that, trouble comes easily. Well, sir, one day
I fought it. Come on up close to me and say that, Hank Morgan.
Close enough, Hercules. Those pistols came off your bench. They're defective. You're fired.
That's so, huh?
Look out!
That crowbar connected. That's all I knew for a good long time. When I came to again, I was sitting under a tree on the side of a hill, with a beautiful country landscape all to myself. Well, nearly all to myself.
Yes, sir. Will you just?
Will I which?
Will you try a passage of arms? Or land, or lady, or what you will?
Friend, I don't know how you got over that asylum wall with all that kitchenware on you, but you better get back or I'll report you.
Don't refuse my challenge. Prepare to defend thyself.
By golly, that one's dangerous. I wonder if the alarm is out for him yet.
I find this my prisoner. But come quietly. Oh, just now seek further argument.
No, I ain't budging out of this till they find out you've escaped and send the guard after you.
Oh, just defy me.
Oh, go easy with that hardware. Good heavens, here. Thanks, here comes the posse now. This way, fellas.
Give you good day, Sir Sagamore.
Where came you by this creature? Take him in charge, Page, and which you now guard him well. He is the prisoner of my sword.
And it pleased him, my lord.
That's right, son. Humor him.
Okay, so you've been watching a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court. King Arthur. So this novel was written by the one that's got the nickname of Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens. And it concerns a Mr. Morgan, who's an engineer, gets struck on the head in a factory and wakes up in the Middle Ages. And notice when he woke up, he thought perhaps someone had escaped from the asylum. So there's so many clues here, and all these clues are pointed in the direction of my other video about the complete nonsense of the Middle Ages, medieval times. And here's just a clip from that video. The fall of ancient Roman Empire and not the disappearance of it. So this is a follow-up on the video I did on Cervantes and Don Quixote, trying to explain to you that if you delete the period of time known as the Middle Ages, it coincides perfectly with the 4 empires listed in the book of Daniel. So if you look at the Roman Empire, excuse me, which is right before you on a timeline, you will see that historians regard the fall of the Roman Empire around 476 AD. Now notice the fall of. Let's word it that way. It fell, but it did not disappear. So, now let's go to the timeline showing the Middle Ages existing in this section here at about 500 AD to 1500 AD. So if we completely get rid of that, that connects the Roman Empire, which has fallen around 476, or let's just use approximate 500 AD. Get rid of 500 AD to 1500 AD. Then that connects you with what they're calling the modern age, the Renaissance period. And it ties in perfectly with the 4 kingdoms of Daniel. So, okay, now just a comment that the Renaissance means rebirth. And the rebirth was the rebirth of what? Basically, ancient Rome. They also throw in classical Greece there under Renaissance. Rebirth. Well, if you get rid of the entire Middle Ages, all 1500 years, it makes perfect sense that we went from the so-called fall of the Roman Empire into just a new version of the Roman Empire. And if you study the book of Daniel, you'll see there's only 4 kingdoms. And the last kingdom before the true manifestation, the visible manifestation of the kingdom of God on the earth is the Roman Empire. So it is the last kingdom of the 4. Now the 5th kingdom is from the little stone, which is the kingdom of God, and that's what we're striving for to get there someday. So we literally are in the revised Roman Empire. So what does this all have to do with a Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's court? Well, the author, Mark Twain, who is really Samuel Clemens, is trying to tell us some things. Now, why is it so important that I talk about Samuel Clemens? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because Samuel Clemens, that's Rutherford B. Hayes, excuse me. I got the wrong one for you there. Samuel Clemens, there's Samuel Clemens, plays Rutherford B. Hayes. All right, so go ahead and prove it to me. All right. So we'll prove it to you. Well, I know I don't prove anything to anybody, so la-da-dee, la-da-da. I don't prove anything to anybody, so don't look for proofs, people. Just look for evidence. All right. There you have it. You have Samuel Clemens on the left, Mark Twain, Rutherford B. Hayes on the right, 72%. Samuel Clemens on the left, Rutherford B. Hayes on the right. %. Clemens on the left, Hayes on the right, 69%. And notice I'm varying the photos too. Clemens on the left, Hayes on the right, 81%. Now, what's this all have to do with a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court? If you're following my logic, The author of the novel was a high-ranking Mason. And when he wrote the novel, he was trying to tell you truth. And what is the truth? That all this stuff about knights and shining armor and putting on all that metal on the body is just BS. Use your own head. Now, there are people that go out and reenact this stuff. And you can actually watch them put this stuff on and go out and bang each other with swords and different things. But think about it. Can a man really survive in something like that? You'll dehydrate within minutes because of the sweat. Then ask yourself some interesting little stupid questions like, what if they need to use the restroom? All right. So where am I ultimately headed with this? All the Middle Ages was nonsense. Nonsense. All that talk about putting suits of armor on was nonsense. So what does it mean? And I've had people ask me the question, does it mean that we're incorrect on our date? Yes, it does. If what I'm telling you is correct, that basically you subtract 1,000 years from the current date. And the Masons use their own dating system, by the way, and I don't mean romance dating system. I mean dating of events. They have their own calendar and they have their own way of computing the years. So, yes, you can just completely scrub the Middle Ages. Why? Because the author of the book, Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain, played Rutherford B. Hayes, the president. He was part of the act. He was an actor. He understood the hoax-lie system. He was part of it. And therefore, his novel was telling you the truth. You've just been struck on the head. And you were taken to a fantasy land called King Arthur's Court. And it was all a bunch of BS written backwards into the history books. Now, I've done some videos on that I call it backward hoaxing. Backward hoaxing. So it's backward hoaxing, convincing us that there was a time period called the Middle Ages. Now, I'm going to end with something I think is kind of funny. If I can find it here. Here it is. And this will be the end of my video. It's a Russian version of the Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. And it's called New Adventures of a Yankee in King Arthur's Court, 1988, I believe.
Ну что ж, если так, я вызываю всех рыцарей круглого стола. Всех! Всех!
Okay, so what version do you like better? Mark Twain's or the Soviet version? Hey, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. End of video.